What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Convos with Cam. I'm just so excited that you are joining me back on this morning. I'm certainly praying that all of you are having a wonderful morning so far, or wherever you may be. It may be at night. I'm hoping that you're having a good week. And so I just wanted to welcome you all back first. Once again, thanking all of the new subscribers. And in this video, we're just going to wrap up our parts work. So if you recall, and for some of you who are newer, you may want to go back and catch the previous videos or lives when we were doing parts work. But we're going to wrap it up today. I will briefly go through just the primary parts that are found in IFS, which is internal family systems. You know, the first one we talked about was the inner child, right? What about those exiles? The parts that are just carrying all of that emotional pain one may experience, or even the traumatic experiences. Then we have the managers that may step up as those protective parts, right? And what they're doing is just aiming to prevent, the exile parts from, taking total control over us. And so they try to give us a space of safety, right? The next one we talked about is those firefighters. And they come up when those managers, just can't seem to get the job done, right? And that's where we start to see a lot of impulsive behaviors that can include substance use, self-harming, just almost when the individual becomes numb because the emotions are so overwhelming. But we then identified that the purpose of exploring these parts are to always arrive at that core self. That's who you are, your true essence. When we're aware of all of these parts, then the core self can begin to actually manage. The core self can actually get behind the driver's wheel and stop being just a mere spectator and watching, their life almost go by like a movie, if you will. So say, for instance, you've identified these parts. These are the questions that I want you to start to ask. Identify that specific part first. Some of you said you had a part of shame or blaming, self-blame, that part that holds that inner critic, right? So what did you ever end up naming or labeling that part? Think about that. What did you come up with? And then we go further and question just how that part plays a role or function in your day-to-day life. What is it really trying to achieve or possibly protect, right? How does it show up? What are the accompanying thoughts and emotions and outward behaviors that are exhibited from this part? What, most importantly, triggers or activates this part? How does this part interact with others? You know, does it have a distorted view? Right? You remember we talked about cognitive distortions. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of that within these various parts of self. But then what positive qualities or intentionality does this part also hold? What do you think that it genuinely wants for you? What is it trying to achieve, right? And so, if we were to even go a step further, right? And we just try to recall any specific memories, maybe, or experiences that you may have, witnessed or been a part of. What is the formation of this part? Are you able to recall any of these specific memories or experiences, right? When we're recalling this, are there any significant events or traumas that this part may be possibly associated with? How does this part relate to the other parts? Because the important thing is that yes, you may have this inner critic part, but then does it cause some tensions and conflicts, maybe with the part of you that is resilient? Because what could possibly happen is the part of you that is resilient has a hard time showing up because of this inner critic, right? Through this and being able to see just how they engage with one another, you now can actually see how those parts work alongside each other and just try to support in this overall achievement of their goal. Remember, we want to be gentle with these parts, y'all, because the truth is, like I said in a video or live that we previously um, did, these parts arise as protection, safety from these emotions and triggers that we experience. It's not like they're there with this intentionality to hurt us. No, no. At some point, they had to arise in order for some of us to even survive that which we were facing or dealing with. You really want to know just the challenges and these difficulties that arise when this part is active. Now, going a step further, how do you currently find yourself responding to this part when it shows up? Is it with anger, bitterness, embarrassment, shame, guilt, sadness? What is it? And are you even able to now engage with it constructively, right? We talked about being gentle with these parts of self and how we could get to a place where we were showing more compassion, understanding, and the curiosity that it really takes to begin to explore these parts of self. And lastly, after you've answered all of these questions and just some talking points, what do you now believe that this part needs to feel heard and most of all supported? What does it need? I encourage you to give it that which it needs. I encourage you to at least take the time to be aware of the goals that these parts are trying to achieve. So that way you can tap into the core self more and not just be pulled here and there, blown like leaves in the wind, because we just can't seem to get a grip and ground ourselves. Really find out what it needs. And with all of these videos and these lives that we've done, there's no doubt in my mind that you're not going to be able to successfully execute all of these skills, successfully execute that which you've learned, because we talked about even the word wisdom, which has been watered down over the years, right? And throughout generations. Some people associate it with an age. Some people associate it with life experiences. But even in its simplest terms, all it's saying is knowledge and application, family. So I encourage you to take the knowledge that you have gained and begin to apply it. And through that, you are exercising the true essence of wisdom. As always, I appreciate you stopping by briefly and just concluding this series of parts work with me. I appreciate all of you in advance for smashing that like button, sharing the video, telling someone about it. Even if it's not for you, it may be for someone else. As always, be gentle with yourself, for we are all doing this thing called life for the very first time. Blessings to you always. Until next time.